Thank you, Tobias. Good afternoon. It's great to be here. My name is Jankos. I work for Google in Amsterdam, and in the past year I've been working in the commerce team trying to help retailers get pretty much their commerce proposition done. So, great presentation by Peter a few minutes ago. I'm actually impressed in how fast he could speak. I won't do that. But, so one of the things he said was you need to, even if you're a performance-driven retailer, you need to think about the upper funnel as well. You need to think about your branding. And in these days of tight budgets and limited cash flows, you might be thinking, okay, how am I going to pay for this? So the next about 15 minutes I'm going to spend trying to give you guys an idea of how other companies have done this. And with, I hope you can go back home and use these ideas and get the budgets free to do some branding advertising as well. So first of all, looking at the traditional advertising funnel, you'll see that brands will be dominating the upper funnel, right? And the whole inspirational awareness kind of thing. And the lower part of the funnel, the retail, will be the dominator there because they know their traffic, they know their conversions. I think most of you are retailers today. Is there who works for a brand here? Okay, so quite a few, about 30 people, I think. Okay, so I'm going to be very nice about this, very delicate. So this, these are just a few banners to give you an idea. So in the upper funnel, you see mostly, like I said, the inspirational stuff. Where as you go lower and lower, people try to bring it to price, drive people to the store, and actually make that conversion, right? Which is traditionally a very effective way of looking at marketing, as long as the path from the start until the purchase, so the whole research path, is a linear one, which nowadays isn't always like that, is it? We did some research in the Netherlands in various retail categories on how do people do their research before buying something. And I brought an example of the television customer journey, if you will. And you'll see that different retail categories are a little bit different, but the pattern is the same. So, first of all, what we see is there's many more channels sources that people use to get information for their research, right? So they get retailer website, brand website, search, price comparisons, offline channels, and the percentage and the size of the ball says, shows us how many people in this journey have actually used that channel. So that's one thing. A second thing is the path that people follow when doing the research, going from source to source. So what does this tell us? This tells us that, so from 100 people starting here, most people will go to the retailer website first. A few will go to the offline channel, to a physical store. And a few even less will go to a search. And, there's probably a few going to other channels as well, but those are the three more important ones. And the same thing, goes, you just follow the colors. So what do we see? We see a couple of things. First of all, people use many channels while doing research to buy, the various retail products. That's an interesting thing. The second thing is, it's no longer like a linear path to the purchase. You'll see that there's a lot of circular movement going there. People will even go back to search or go back to an aggregator. But, the most logical, the one I do is I usually go to a retailer website, one other that I know. I have a look there. Then I go search a little, perhaps find some information on the product if necessary. In most cases, I'll then go to an aggregator, see what the pricing is doing, and probably from the aggregate, I'll go to a retailer website and from there make the purchase, right? So, what is one thing that jumps out in this graph? What do you guys see? What would you expect to be different? Yeah, not altogether. Let me tell you. It's the brand website's ball, which is way too small. So only 1/3 of the people that, in this case, are seeking to buy television actually use the brand website. Make sense? I mean, to me it does. I don't really go to a brand website because there's not much for me to find there. So, product specs maybe, but that's something else I'll also find on a retailer website usually. There's no pricing information. There's no purchase possibility in most cases. In some cases you'll find it, but it's not always that good. So here's a question. If the brand website is considered an important channel in the customer journey, in the purchase journey by consumers, why do brands spend so much money trying to get people to the website? Why is that? I mean, if you know the answer, please enlighten me, because I honestly don't. Okay, so I don't know the answer, but I think there's an opportunity for retailers, but brands as well there. And that's the following. So we think that if retailers and brands work together on online marketing, let's call it co-marketing for now, if you work together to make the role of the retailer website more important and drive people to that retailer website and make sure that all the information that they're seeking for while going through that spaghetti of a journey we were just looking at, it's much better spent advertising money instead of trying to get people to the brand website where even if they go there, they're not going to be able to buy something. So I just put up a few logos to give you an idea. I mean, I don't even know if these are good examples, but just to give you an idea of what I'm thinking. And you might be wondering, first of all, why would brands go with that? Secondly, why would I go with that? Here's a list of a few benefits. Let's not go through all of them, but for the brands, I think the most important thing is the path to purchase, right? You get in the entire funnel, I forget the inspirational part, but everything from familiarity down is, you can put a path to purchase as long as they're on the retailer website. It gives them a much better control of the experience, because nowadays, if you have two funnels, the brand funnel and the retailer funnel, people will go switching from one another. The experience isn't just that good. So what if you make, for example, a brand-dedicated website within your retailer website, where people start with the whole familiarity thing, then within that same retail website go, do their consideration, pricing, purchasing, etc. On the other hand, retailers, why should you? Yeah, I mean, ROI, obviously. You get much more money to spend on advertising, which gives you additional traffic, and you have a better control of the funnel, right? You get to use your remarketing lists much higher in the funnel than you're probably doing today. And of course, like for all of us, for the consumers, much more integrated experience. Your customer journey is just easier. You don't have to switch from site to site. Make sense? Okay. This is an example. So I have two examples. One is a retail example, and the other one is a brand example, just to show you how other firms have done this in the past, and perhaps there's some good learnings for you in there. So Pets Place. Actually, I think there is someone from Pets Place here today, right? Any hands? No? They didn't come? Damn. What's wrong with them? Pets Place, it's the market. I mean, 2 years ago when we started doing this project, it was the market leader, actually still is in pets, necessities, everything you need for your dog, cat, mouse, whatever. And they have about 240 stores, physical stores in the Netherlands. And about 2 years ago, they decided they wanted to become a true omni-channel retailer. They wanted also to become the online market leader as well. But they had a few problems. Problem number one being they did not have the resources to do it. And problem number two being they did not have the know-how to do it. So what they did was, first of all, they hired a few people that knew online marketing. I mean, that's the easy one. The second thing, they partnered up with Google, with an agency, with, again, an easy one. But here comes the interesting part. They went to their three of their major suppliers, so P&G, Royal Canin, and Bayer, and they said, listen, we want to build an omni-channel retail platform that will help us sell many more products, your products. Are you willing to co-invest in this? Are you willing to help us build this platform? We're not good at it. We are starting to find out how stuff works, but we think there's a lot of value for both you and us in there. So are you interested in co-investing? And they did. So, with the brands I was just mentioning, they did pilots. They started very, very small, and they tried to see, what works for them. They used YouTube. They used, I just put a few examples up there, some feed-driven banners, some traditional banners. And what you see is that they would use both the brands of the brand and their own brand, the retail brand, in the whole communication. Did it work? Yeah. Actually, it worked very well. Nowadays, it's no longer like a project, like a pilot that they did, but they have about 30 brands standing in line to work with them in this. And it has become a part of their day-to-day business. So this has been a very, very successful example of how a retailer initiated co-marketing. So let's look at it from the other way. From a brand perspective, you all know Sonos, right? They build these wireless Wi-Fi devices. It's great stuff for your home. And Sonos, the day we did this project, I think they were active in 6 countries, and they had very aggressive international expansion ambitions. They wanted to go in as many countries as they could, as fast as they could. They had 2 problems: resources and a time to market. I think I promised them that I wouldn't tell you what exactly time to market was, but it was way over a year, which means from the moment that a product design development is done till the moment they could actually get into a country and build the whole organization and start selling, it would take them, all the way up to pretty much 2 years to be able to start selling. So what they decided was, let's try something else. And they did a pilot with the following parameters. 1, they went online only. So they didn't build a whole marketing organization in the country like they used to, but they just said, okay, we're going to go online only. 2, they did it with a single retailer, Nital. And 3, they did it in a very limited geographical area. So they went to Lombardia, Italy, and they focused on that area. And they made a deal with Nital, and they said, okay, listen, we're going to do some advertising, we'll pay for it. And we're going to drive as many people as we can to your stores to do a demo and buy our products. The online sales were still at the Sonos web shop, but the offline sales, which is the primary channel sales for audio devices and specifically for Sonos, would still be the Nital physical store. So again, just a few examples of products they used. As you can see, compared to the previous slide, the previous screenshots, this is much more in the kind of awareness atmosphere, because Sonos was not very known in Italy, so they needed to get people, to know their products. So what they did is they did some YouTube, some engagement ads, and all of that led to the dedicated brand website within the Nital website, and where you could actually find information on the demo days. I think you could make an appointment, etc. What made this very, very successful was that we would actually have, on a weekly basis, we would have calls with Sonos discussing how it was going. We would have these reports that were generated automatically, and we would go through them and say, okay, how many footfall did this create? Wow, this is not good. Why isn't this not working? And we'd actually go through the entire campaign, so the whole storyboard throughout the funnel and throughout the Google products, and we could, actually optimize stuff. So we would change the creative, we would change the targeting, until it actually drove as many people as we could to the stores. Again, a very big success. I think, top of head, the online demand increased by about 450%. I think the revenue even increased about 1,800%, which, they were small in Italy, so it doesn't really say much. But this was a very successful product. They actually managed to enter the Italian market within 2 months. So they're very happy about it. They're actually using it to enter other markets as we speak. So that's Sonos. Looking back at these 2 examples, what we learned was that there is 3 things you should be thinking about if you actually start doing co-marketing. One of them is an industrialized approach is what you need. What does that mean? That means develop a vision on what the value of co-marketing could be for you. So put some things on paper and start discussing it internally within your companies, with the management team, with the procurement. If there's one thing, discuss it with procurement. They would, in most cases, they will be the biggest hurdle to take. They won't share their relationships. It's a disaster. So create a vision, share it, get support within the organization, make it scalable. So Sonos made it in a scalable way to take it to other countries. Pets Place made it scalable to take it to other suppliers. Think big, but start small. And thirdly, in industrial approach, make sure it finds its place in the day-to-day business. Because otherwise, if it stays a pilot, at some point, it'll disappear. So you need to put someone on top of it who's responsible, build the processes, the IT, whatever you need to make sure that it becomes part of the day-to-day business. Secondly, trust. One thing Pets Place did, in a great way, was they stepped to their partner, to their suppliers, and they said, listen, we don't know, but we think there is some value there. We're going to find out how, but we would like to have a broad, open, transparent relationship with you and try to grow on this together. So think strategically. Don't think online marketing. Think what you can do together and have that discussion. So it could lead to working together on fulfillment or on packaging, on other areas as well. You might start from online marketing, but just think broad. And make sure that the reporting is right. So Pets Place sends, I'm not sure what the frequency is, but they send very frequently reports to their brand saying, okay, this is what we did, this is what what we got in clicks, in views, in engagements, in whatever, so that the brand actually knows what they get for their money. And number 3, we're Google, monitor. Make sure that at all times you know what's happening and that you're able to, turn the buttons, so you can optimize what you're doing. This is, make sure you're reporting, that you understand what's happening. So these are 3 things we found to be the most important success factors when working together with your brands on online marketing. So to wrap it up, I'm convinced there's an opportunity for you, both retailers and brands. There's a lot of, there's a great opportunity of driving people through the right funnel to get them to the purchase you're seeking. And when you go back home, to me, these are the 5 things you should be doing if you're actually considering co-marketing. Number 1 is build a case. So the next speaker will talk a little bit about how to use a method called the message house to do that. But what that means is understand what the value of co-marketing is for you. So understand it, have broad discussions, have the management team support it, have, again, procurement and the other departments support it. Secondly, go through your suppliers and think, who are going to be interesting ones to work with? Do we have a long relationship with them? Are we, on a personal but also on a professional level, do we understand each other? Would it be interesting for them? And then, based on that, build a value proposition for them. So it must be a win-win. Otherwise, honestly, don't do it. It must be a win-win. And people have to, so you and your suppliers have to commit to, some period of time in which they invest and see what works. Set up a scalable pilot. Scalable pilot. Not a pilot, not a scalable. Scalable pilot. So start small. Peter was just discussing an example of 7K. That's the amount you can think of just to see what works for you. In looking at Pets Place, it was a lot of trial and error, a lot of error. But, that way they found out what works for them. And make sure it's scalable. So make it like an approach, a method, not a one-time thing. And thirdly, evaluate. Stay close to the data, understand what they mean, and communicate with the brand. Show them, this is what we did, this is what came out. How do you guys feel about it? Is that what you were looking for? Discuss with them what the data you're getting back means and how you can improve it. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Jankos. We have time for exactly 1 question about building strategic partnerships around the brands you're selling. Does anyone already do this structurally in their organization? Some do. Okay.
Okay, 2 or 3.
Is there anyone who wants to ask Jankos 1 question?
God, this was a great
show of hands. We know it's the end of the afternoon. All right. I have 1 question for you. Let's say I am not doing this right now. Where do I start?
I would say understand if co-marketing is something for your business. You know, depending on whether you sell televisions or you sell pet food or whatever, understand whether it would make sense to do this together with your suppliers. If your supplier is someone in China that no one knows and has ever heard of, I wouldn't say that would be the most ideal partner. So think about whether it makes sense for your business and who the right suppliers would be. And there's commerce specialists in all the countries. So if you want to discuss with someone from Google how we've done it with other customers, let us know. There's always someone you could talk to. But the first most important thing is understand what it can bring you in value.
Perfect. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.